Very good afternoon, every one of you. And first and foremost, all the dignitaries, respected library professionals, colleagues, and my dear friends. It's been really, honor to be here in front of all of you as dignitaries, as professionals. Some of them, seems to be a very known face to me, and I guess as a replica, as a reciprocative to me also, because it's been a long journey for me, especially if I could have been started, say, maybe 2005 onwards. And so it's been a long journey for me personally and professionally across such a beautiful island country. And thanks to all the people for writing our success story back in the past. And won't take much of a time because now it's been a little shorter of a time. So according to the agenda, so now according to the agenda, I think if I go by the last presentation, Mr. Ashwani, Dr. Manuja, Honorable Prime Minister Ma'am. So I think we all must have got a very clear idea, very clear identification. What sort of guidelines are we supposed to follow, even taken forward for our rest of the future in regard catering to our libraries, catering to our research innovations, catering to our the content, and what Prime Minister Madam rightly said. So rather than we need to work with the quantity, now is the time to work for the qualitative on that. So now moving forward, according to agenda, so again, I won't take much of a time because my presentation is likely to be very straightforward. Like what is the consortia? I think half of my job has already been made it easier for me even by Dr. Manuja while his presentation. Yes, considering all obstacles, future perspectives, and all major requirements, considering all, you as a subject-oriented people with all multidisciplinary requirements, I think consortia seems to be a good option for every one of us. Now I'm going to take a little closer to what are what altogether consortia is, what are the modalities available, and what are the running consortia back to in India, and how we can be taken forward, and what could be the solution and suggestions for you, so while taking our requirements likewise. So that's my agenda of my presentation. I'll be taking you quickly through as the introduction, need of the library consortia, type of a consortia, running consortia, what are the benefits, what are the challenges, and what could be the opportunities while taking forward the possible consortia in due course of a time, maybe later or sooner, and what's the process, how we can probably start this possible consortia. So a very journal, it is something, a kind of a timeline for us. Getting ahead, it's to getting started. Simple as that. Because someone somehow has to start from anywhere, somehow is that. So while putting a one step ahead to that, so means we would be having a clear idea, clear innovation, what are we supposed to, eye on, and what could be of our, say, the milestone. Yes, we can't do anything, at all. So it has to be, kind of a team effort. So we have to, be together, go together, achieve together, feel together. So I think as far as what the consortia is concerned, I think Dr. Manuja has already pointed out, but yes, if I go by as an agenda, so I need to give a little brief. Consortia means it's a simple, sort of an arrangement when multiple people, needs to buy a certain documents, certain information, certain databases as per the core interest rather than paying individually, if all people, will come together as a group, so rather than paying individual, it is a kind of a collective subscription at affordable prices. That's all together in a very general terms on that. Moving ahead, the need of a library consortia. Why do we require the library consortia? If I'm taking you, while just going by this picture, so this gentleman, it's, sitting maybe at the library place or maybe at the reading place. He just, figuring it out, the library concept and the library requirements, or what we are going to get out of the library is the information, is the content. So we have to figure it out, what are we looking for? Yes, we are looking for the demand for information. How it's going to help the demand of information? There are a number of people, a number of research scholars might be here. So they might require certain information. So they need to have certain benchmarking, certain platforms where they can figure it out, their information as per their interest, as per their requirements. So this is how we need to upgrade our research. Global trends. What Madam has also pointed out, so many other personality has also make it very clear on their presentation. Dr. Manuja has also make it out very clear. So the trend is moving more of into the digitization, more into the electronic requirements, more into the electronic information. This is how we need to move ahead for rest of the life. And we need to build up for the further research. And we need to identify the information. What information are we looking for? As Honorable Madam Prime Minister said very clear on her speech, Dr. Manuja also made it that like we'll be looking forward for certain journal subscription, databases, ebooks, anything which could be of an interest to us. That is how we need to identify what kind of information or interest are we looking for. Moving forward, if we need to have certain documentations with us, okay, this is what we want. So we have to enable ourselves with all equipped latest ammunitions. Ammunitions means all, moving technologies aspects is concerned. Since morning, everyone is just listening, digitization, electronic, AI, right? Cyber security. So this is something, moving technologies on that. So while taking library also as a perspective of a dissemination information which is likely to be of an interest to you in near future, so we have to enable ourselves with all the current technologies as there. So just an example, we do have this, we can think of the discovery services, app-based access, because as of now, if I eyeing from the publisher's point of view and from the content point of view, I think every one of you as professional, how the access modality nowadays. Now, ID password has gone with the wind nowadays. Now, everything is completely, enabled on the institutional static IPs. And that IPs also facilitate more, with some other, like summon discovery services we do have. So we have application-based softwares also there and remote access facility also. Say for an example, if or later or sooner, if the consortia get happened or these kind of, modalities can happen, start from our day-to-day activities, start from 9 to 5 or say 8:30 to 5:30 or 4:30. So while paying $100,000s of a dollar or $200,000s of a dollar, so are we good even the access while even we are out of the campuses? Yes. So while having this facility, we can facilitate of our subscribed content, having a proper justice to what are we paying for that. So with the help of remote access facility, we can facilitate the users while they are supposed to be in the campus, while they are off the campus, or even out of the country as well as. So all the time library is supposed to be all 24/7, 365 in your pockets. So the transparency, yep. As of now, majority of the publisher have been completely unaware with the license agreements. So this is also, we need to figure it out. what transparency is also being required while taking the consortium model, because every publisher unable with signing a license agreement with an institute means that license agreement is a kind of a transparency between the institute and the publisher, stating as a kind of a documented, any document. Well, they can also be aware what the library has bought and for what library has paid for that. So this is, something kind of a some judicial document, which a kind of a win-to-win situation for the user and the publishers. Yes, another need for library is the resource sharing. I think Dr. Manuja has also made you more clear on that. We can have a customized requirement, so we can have a collective, the purchasing. Customized means, say for an example, if I'm giving an example of, say, John Wiley. If John Wiley is having near about 1500 odd titles, either we can for all 1500 titles, or we can have a customized out of all 15 as per the interest and the choices. And also allows the consortia, means more research engagements, means we can have across the table, options are there. We can, lot of other search options. So that is more of, how you get engaged yourself with the, current requirements. So huge collection content availability is also there, one of the aspects. So actually that is something I've been told very categorically. I need to make a point out what are the running consortia back in India, what kind of the modalities are there which actually help us to take it forward for while taking forward. Because as from the ministry, it has already been made it clear. Madam Prime Minister has also made a clearance on that, and NSF is work seriously on that. So this is how we look forward. And so these are some of the examples. I don't know whether any one of you are aware about some central level initiatives done by the Government of India. So now we've called ESS. ESS is an initiative done by the Government of India under Ministry of Human Resources and Development. So we've been able to connect all central funded institutions under this platform. Second is called Helinet. Helinet, it's not a kind of a bigger consortium, but it's more of say a restricted consortium, means Helinet, which, so these are some of the examples which I'm going to take more closer, okay, what these consortia is, stand for what and how it is works on that. So this is just an example of what are the running consortia back to in India, either state level or central level or ministries level. So these are actually few of the example. Otherwise, we, as of now, if I remember correctly, so we are talking about close to, say, about 16 running consortia back to in India. And so those consortia are completely, based on the central funded, state level funded, some other, options, or maybe few of them are even through the World Bank projects also. So this is what's altogether INDEST. Actually, INDEST was the name of the consortia which was initially started by the Government of India way back, start from 2003 onwards. So means that initiative was done by GOI for the sake of all leading scientific institutions, our research institutions, majorly science and technology. And it was being started with over 5,000 e-journals, and now it's been a couple of $100,000 journals we are talking about. Helinet, it's the name of the consortia. It's purely and mainly focused on the people who are, say, on a state level funded, and majorly for the medical side is. So what type of consortiums we do have? As I said, we have a completely central funded consortia, as I given an example of ESS. So I think as of now, I think through social media, all professional, you are very much there. So you must have heard about almost a weeks back, Government of India has done an initiative. What we are talking as of now, Government of India make a consortia called One Nation, One Subscription. One nation, one subscription means all institutions, whether we are talking about IITs, triple IITs, NITs, state universities, central university, agriculture, research laboratories, corporates, banks, whatever we do have, but majorly as of now, it's primarily and focused only for the government funded colleges. So as of now, government has made this one nation, one subscription for near about almost more than 6,500 institutions across India. And I've been feel proud and privileged to share almost Government of India has made a budget of nearly about 720 million US dollar. Then we do have a decentralized consortia, which I'm going to take very briefly on that. Obviously, it's been negotiated offering for individual choices. So here I have given you T1, T2. Means every publisher has certain, bifurcation, or you can say, or the level of an institution. Means tier 1 means the people, the institution who are directly or indirectly funded by the concerned government. And rest is with a different certain other modality, or it's been like that. So this is how, the pricing is completely based on the tier level. So this is how the consortia is also been like that. Loosely organized consortium. Say, here I have given you called DMER. So back to us. So we have, all state Directorate of Medical Education Research also. Say for an example, if I'm talking about say Mumbai, which is one of the say city, back to a state called Maharashtra. So that entire of the consortium modality comes in the DMR, which is called Directorate of Medical Education. So it means all medical institutions comes under that state will directly or indirectly be funded by or catered by this particular consortia. So that's why we count it as a loose consortia. Other type of consortiums. I guess I've seen a few of the faces who belongs to the corporate side also. Corporate institutions, self-support institutions. So we are very open, while taking a possibility for people who are from the corporate side also. Say, I've seen Sleet is there. I've seen Senec is also there. So few faces, I know them very clearly. So we can also, very clear with our philosophy, we can think of even while taking the self-support colleges also being a part and parcel of rest. It completely depends on the government and their discussion and the kind of modality which will be taken into consideration a little later on that. So this is something, a kind of a little description. I won't speak much on that. I would request just have a look on that, which will give you what kind of a consortium modality is currently available in the market as of now, and that to include India and even to some of our neighboring nations also. Or maybe you can say back to Europe or maybe any other areas also. So I think this is just a brief or kind of a glimpse to know what sort of the consortium models are available, what was being initiated back to in India, which actually helps us to taking forward this model also while taking for rest of the discussion. Continue with the consortium models. Again, there are about 7-8 models which I have brought for your knowledge, for your point of interaction. Just have a look on that. Now, I think I have given you almost 6-7 possibilities of what kind of the consortia are there. So, according to me, what suggestions could be from my side, which I'm going to take little or maybe after one or two more slides. So as of now in India, now we have a one national consortia, which I've already made you clear that we are talking about ESS. ESS is the name of the national consortia, which was done by Government of India, which caters to the entire of the institution, directly funded by the government. So there is no provision as of now, but it's been under discussion with all the publishers. But as of now, we have already initiated, and government has slotted a certain budgets for that, which I've already told to you, just for an idea. So national consortia, it's something. Actually, when we started this the model, actually back to in China, we were having CALIS. So this is almost kind of the same modality. So the only difference between when it was being started in India and when actually it was have a thought of back to China. So as I said, so under Ministry of Human Resource Development, government has done this consortia for all major government funded colleges. And as I've already given to you, so now we are catering to almost 6,500 institutions, catering to almost 31 odd publishers as of now, and near about say close to 14,000 e-journals that have been catered into this national consortia. And the budget has given by the government was somewhere of around $720 million as of now. So moving ahead very fastly, because it's been a time constraint and I've got an indication also. So what are the benefit of consortia? I think very clearly and very crystal and very deeply, it was already been briefed by Dr. Manuja. But again, as a duty, so I've been taking care of what are the benefits. Obviously, it will reduce the cost. For an example, say approximately if I'm talking about say around 17, 18 public university we are talking. Just one hypothetically, one example I'm using. If I'm talking about say Science Journal, PNAS, Nature. So if all are having the same interest of one journal, so what is the use of and what is the point of paying all 18 subscription individually? So let's come together and see how the benefit and how the cost is there. So that's why the benefit of a consortia first and major is reduced cost. You will get the higher value. Say for an example, any institutions who are not paying much of that, but after having certain consortia arrangement with certain price negotiation, so they'll be getting little more than what they were expecting earlier. We'll save the time also, because nowadays everybody is very, very well equipped with all the ammunitions, technologies. But again, a lot of things are there we have to take into consideration. And I know as a management, at the end of the day, time is the money. So transparency very much is there, because since we are going to take care of the license agreement also, so the IP institutional IPs are going to be very clear and crystal. So that also, one of the areas where we counted as a benefit. That will improve our resource sharing, better licensing terms and conditions. Because if we are, say, taking one example of, say, Science Direct or Cochrane Library, right? So in that case, it is something not of very much of a deep and depth of clarity on the license agreement. So if we have this, the consortia modality, the bigger picture, more number of subscription, more users are there. So it is more of, the better license terms and conditions there. And more professional services to the users. Vast readership. As much as a student can, start logging within the premises of the institution, that also allows them to have a more readership, more accessibility, more into the content, and obviously helps to engage the, increase the user engagement also. People can start moving more of, while sitting on their laptops, while searching the information, what are they looking for. and qualitative research outcomes. Because that is something, the last point, I'm going to, make a point which Madam has also rightly said. So rather than, to enhance the number of journal, say what Madam rightly said, so if you're talking about, say, 150 all Sri Lankan online journals. So she said, okay, rather than increment of numerics as a number, so it should be focused on more of the qualitative research. What are we talking as of? So I think nowadays, so we have to learn from this conference that rather than the quantitative business, it should be more of the qualitative business. And sort of a consortium services is concerned, access to the information, we have interlibrary loan also, it's like that, and the e-licensing is there. Shared technology means library systems is there, library portals is there. So like, as I've already given to you, there are certain another portals which say, if you're talking, say, as if I could remember correctly, so during the presentation of Dr. Manuja, he has given some ballpark of any possible, say, 8, 9 or 10 publisher is concerned. So if we need to, get them club all at one single portal, so we do have that mechanisms also where we can, federated all kind of, the services at one single window access, and that will be likely with a cross-sharing access model to every one of us. And consortium service will also allows to have a wider availability, wider, reach is there, wider more people, get connected with through source, even through, while be regular on the electronic side. And more number of books and journals would be available for us, because it is likely to be a quantum of a subscription, quantum or a bunch of journals or the books as well. Cost optimization is also one of the major factor, because rather than, as I said, if we go individually, will cost, say for an example, if I said, if I'm going to buy to the market or a mall, if I need to go for, say, a Lee Cooper shirt, that Lee Cooper shirt going to cost me, say, 5,000 rupees. So if I'm going to say about 5 shirts, so that means I will be able to get some sort of a marginal discounts on that. So that discount also will help us to take a little more of closer to the more content. And obviously, from the administration is concerned, it will also reduce, the administrative cost also. Say, for example, if you're talking about 9 publisher, so means from the library point of view, they have to write separate 9 emails, 9 single separate proposals, 9 separate orders, 9 single purchase orders, 9 single license agreement, 9 single follow-ups, everything is there. So now, the consortia is a single window access kind of possibility which remains same and will reduce our cost, and from the administration point of view, it will remain, save their manpower and their efforts and their time, and again, time is the money nowadays. So for the consortia, that's a kind of a suggestion for any consortia. The resources what we require, obviously we require the skilled training staff is there. We require the technology, we require the internet. So these are the basic things. Facilities, journal and packages selection, which I think I won't comment on that. That's something internally. Funding. That's the funding should be, if we are talking about the consortia, that funding should be either from the government side, either we need, get any World Bank projects or any other projects we are talking, so something, as a grant, what if we are expecting something. And we have a pool funding. Pool funding means same sort of an interest, if they can come together for the sake of one betterment, so they can have a, pool also. So I'm just moving further to that. It's something not of interest, because the time is running short on that. What are the challenges? One side I've talked about, yes, what are the benefits, what is being required. Obviously, we must know, and we know challenges also there for all kind of possibilities. So the funds is the major challenge, yes, but during the presentation was done by the editor from a particular journal. He made it very clear, yes, don't lose the heart. Just, as written by the father of management under Philip Kotler by Ian Robinson. It's been clearly mentioned that do your best, be positive, do positive, rest, let it be on the time and almighty. It will stop. It will take a bit of a time, but nobody will stop you to reach at the top. That's my words to you. So these are a few of the challenges which I think on a government level, on an administrative level, so we'll be taking care of if this kind of things will be there in near future. And the consortia model success factor. Shared values towards your common goal. As we have a common goal, like we are supposed to take care of all institutions, all university sector, even all R&D centers is there. So it's a kind of a collective possibility where we are thinking of for the sake of the future. So I'm not taking much of a time because I'm getting again an indication. I'm running short of time. So just have a look. So the consortium structure should be by the type of library. What type of library means maybe only related to science and technology, agriculture, medical, but it is something what we need to figure it out, or maybe a collective kind of, the modality if it's there. Or maybe by subject areas. Or the common interest. And conclusion, based on the above description, what I've already given to you, like what is available, how the consortium models are there, how they can work upon that, what are the pros and cons are there. So I have, my conclusion is completely, structure may be different. Funding arrangements are the crucial, because ultimately, yes, we know what we will supposed to do for rest of the future. We know the technologies are there. We know the requirements are there. But yes, at the end of everything, the financials are one of the major aspects which we have to keep our finger crossed on that. But yes, as having said by the new madam and the new government, I wish every one of you with a great success. And my last slide is say the suggestions. I can only, considering my expertise, my experience, while into the deep and depth of all, say, 25 years of experience in the consortia, India level, Sri Lanka level, or even since we have done back to Bangladesh, the BIPC consortia is there. Back to Sri Lanka, there was to have earlier. Now in India, a lot of us there. So my suggestion to Sri Lanka as a consortia should be a centrally funded. Should be a centrally funded where, government is going to have a complete control on all administrative issues, all fundings are there. So according to me, and what Madam has also pointed out, under NSF guidelines and the dictations, if this model can be, get formulated little later on, it will be, much appreciated, and we definitely look forward if it is get happen sooner or later. Then you will be having a centrally priced negotiation and the purchase. So from the library's point of view, because I know some administrative issues are there, financial issues are there. So if it is being done by the government itself, so there won't be, certain issue on that. So because it is completely directly or indirectly likely to be get monitored by the government, or if NSF is taking forward this possible, model, so everything is likely to be controlled and governed by the government. So this is something, looks like to be a suggestions. And access to all libraries will be, against your static IPs and the technologies. Maybe later on sooner we'll be having further more round of discussion with all what other, the technologies are also being required. So this is part and parcel of this particular model or the project. So that's all together from my side. And if there is any suggestion, any doubt you have, or for us, if there will be, if I need to take care of any notes for our rest of the future to make more clear for you people, and It will be an honor to facilitate with you with all kind of your queries, with all kind of your suggestions. It will be help to us to make more better to us of us. So thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Bharadwaj, for sharing your insights, valuable insights. Next item on the agenda is the discussion forum on the theme Challenges Facing Librarians in a Digital World. It is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished panelists who will be sharing their insights today. Professor Ruan Gamage, who will also be the moderator. He's a professor in Library and Information Sciences at the National Institute of Library and Information Science, University of Colombo. His research interests encompass public librarianship, information organization, and application of IT in librarianship. He has won several awards from local and foreign institutions, including the Chartered Institute of Library and Information Professionals, UK. The next panelist is Dr. M.M. Mashrufa, attached to the Southeastern University of Sri Lanka as a senior assistant librarian. She has completed 25 years of service in academic library sector with a PhD from the Management and Science University of Malaysia. Her research interests are in net generation, knowledge society, e-learning, open science, etc. She will be joined by Dr. T. Prathipan, who serves as the Deputy Librarian at the Uwavellasa University, Sri Lanka. He earned his PhD in Library and Information Science from University of Kelaniya. Dr. Prathipan is an editorial board member and reviewer for numerous scientific journals and is a pioneer in the Sri Lankan librarian community. The next panelist is Dr. R.D. Anandathissa, acting librarian of the Gampaha Wickramarachchi University of Indigenous Medicine. He has earned his PhD from the University of Kelaniya. The final panelist is Mr. M.N. Ravikumar, Senior Assistant Librarian, Eastern University of Sri Lanka. Currently, he is reading for his PhD in Library and Information Science. He specializes in library automation, digitization, and open access. I would like to invite the panel members onto the stage, please. And before we begin the discussion, we have a presentation on catalyzing ORCID communities of practice. The presenter is Dr. LDCS Subhashini, a senior lecturer at the Department of Information Technology, University of Sri Jayawardenepura. She is a prominent data scientist who holds a PhD in data science. Her work focuses on machine learning, big data analytics, and predictive modeling. I would like to invite Dr. Subhashini to make a presentation first.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is like kind of a thing like not to advertising ORCID IDs. So we are a group of like who got the grant. So we want to like make the awareness of, the increase in the awareness of ORCID IDs. So I'm Dr. Subhashini, I'm one of project co-investigator here. So we got the grant for the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, and like we want to increase the awareness of ORCID IDs. So what is this ORCID ID? So I know that the most of you have ORCID IDs. So like ORCID ID, this is for the open researcher and contributor ID we called. What we can do like using the ORCID ID is for connecting the people like research and the researchers. So I think you all have heard of the personal IDs. So I think it's most related to the library science, like when we talk about the personal IDs, so these are kind of personal IDs we can use to increase the awareness of our research, the visibility of our research. The first one is the ORCID ID. This is for the researchers, like we can increase the awareness using ORCID IDs. So I think you all know how to create the ORCID ID. Just go to the Google, type create the ORCID ID. Then if you have the Gmail account, we can connect with the Gmail account and we can create the ORCID ID. So next one is like RAID. This is for the research activities. And the cross-ref, the library science, we know that what is cross-ref, and the data side and the ROI. Here I'm going to talk about the ORCID ID here. So what is this ORCID ID? So the ORCID ID is visible in the research articles. When you search the research articles, you can see the ORCID ID. So the green like ID here, this is the like symbol of the ORCID ID. So this is a research article. I think you all can see in front of the name. This is the ORCID ID of the author. So what is this ORCID ID is individually we can create our ORCID ID. There are purposes of the ORCID ID from the organization's point of view as well as the researcher's point of view. So here, this is how we can create after creating the account. So this is my profile. Think about that. This is a profile. So this is my ORCID ID here. You can see the ORCID ID. So this is the name of the ORCID ID. So we can here update our profile here. So like you can add your profile, like your details and all the things you can be able to add it in your profile. Then, so here like three main services of the ORCID ID. The first one is the ORCID ID. So for an example, when I'm going to publish a paper, think about a journal article. So I'm going to publish the paper. They are requesting. Now the most of the journals are requesting our ORCID ID. So we are giving our ORCID ID to them. Then from the journal side, when they are pushing and like in the ORCID system, pushing data and the pulling data. Like when they are pushing the data, automatically our data will be added to our profile. This is how it happens. Then we are not going to add our records manually. If we are going to provide the detail, our ORCID ID, when you are going to publish the paper, when they are pushing the data, automatically all the record added to our profile. Then in your profile, it can be seen like all the data has been added in your profile. This is how it happens with the ORCID ID. ORCID profile, we can be able to manually update our profile or else from the organization side. For example, I have the qualification from University of Colombo. Think about that. So I am going to manually add my profile like the qualification details into the ORCID ID. Or else, if the University of Colombo is having a system kind of a thing like related to ORCID ID, so they have an API, there are 3 APIs. If they have the API, if they are pushing the data, automatically my qualification can be loaded into my profile. So I will show you how the data trustworthiness has been happened in the ORCID profile. So manually data can be seen separately, and the pushing data from the system side, the API side, can be able to seen separately in the ORCID profile. So here the last one is the API. So in the ORCID ID, there are 3 APIs available. The first one is the public API. The API is like a technical word. So using the API, the system to system can be connected. For example, all the library system can be connected through the API. So there are 3 APIs available. The one is the public API, the second one is the member API, the last one is the premium member API. So using the public API is not paid one, publicly available. So you need to configure the API and you can connect all the library system into one. The second one, you need to, like the member API, like we need to get the membership from the ORCID and we can get the member API. So the premium member API, there are more facilities available with the premium member API. So you can be able to connect all the system using the premium member API. So kind of things like pushing data, pulling data, all the facilities are available in the premium member API. This is how it happens, the facilities of the ORCID here. So I talk about the systems. Through the API, we can connect the systems. So how these systems, like publisher system, they have the ORCID system. Then the institute, they have the system. And the profile, like us, we have the profile system. All can be connected through API. Then all data can be exchanged like real time. And all the profile updated real time using this system via the APIs. So here you can see how all the researchers, these are the researchers, you know, the library science you all know, all can be connected via this API system. So information in the ORCID, when you created the ORCID profile, so you can be able to add these records to your ORCID profile. The one is like your employment details, education, funding information, publication, all these can be added manually or else with the organization side, then when they are pushing the data, automatically all the data can be updated in your profile. So here, what is this trust? We call this trustworthiness. Here you can see the arrow here. In front of your like record, if you like getting this symbol, this means that this is already trusted information with the ORCID system. So think about that. I'm going to review a paper in a journal. So when I'm reviewing the paper, so I am going to give my ORCID ID and review the paper. So after reviewing the paper, all the records added to my profile using this notation because all the information already trusted by the system. So when I added information manually, think about I'm going to add my qualification manually. This is not, you cannot see a notation like here. It is added only the manual notation here. So this is called the trustworthiness of the ORCID like here. This provides the trustworthiness like information is already trusted by the ORCID system. So this is how the ORCID adaptation in Sri Lanka. So I think you can see now it has been increased like 2023 records. So like the librarian, you also can create your ORCID IDs and you can be able to connect with the ORCID records. So you can update the ORCID records when we are going to like publications and the reviewing the papers, especially in the high journals. Like they're asking, most of the journals are asking the ORCID ID. So you need to provide the ORCID ID. This is how you can create the visibility and increase the visibility. Like when I compared with the ORCID with the Google Scholar, I think you all know what is the difference. With the Google Scholar, we can have the same name in separate times. We can create the Google Scholars. But with the ORCID ID, we have only one ORCID ID. Like using the name, they have only identified only one ORCID ID. This is how it happens. So this is what is the researchers in all universities in Sri Lanka, how they have used the ORCID here. This is what current figure of the ORCID IDs in Sri Lanka. So as a USJ, so we have the ORCID GPF grant. So what we are going to do is like we need to increase the awareness and we need to show the researchers what is the influence of ORCID ID and how you can improve your visibility. And we need to do some workshops and promote like the awareness, increasing the awareness of ORCID ID. So I think if you need any help in your university regarding the library or anything, so we are happy to help you all. So you can be able to send an email to this email address so we can organize workshops. Like this is a kind of a short period time. I cannot show you how to create the ORCID ID and how to do the updates and everything. So how to create the API and everything. It's a kind of a technical part in the API side. But you can create the profile. This is not a technical one. Just go to the Google and type create ORCID ID. So you can just follow the steps and you need to provide the Gmail. Then you can create the ORCID ID. Okay, so that's all from my side. Oh, thank you very much. So if you have any questions, I think you can be able to, yes. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Subhashini, for enlightening us on ORCID IDs. Now I would like to hand over to Professor Ruan Gamge to moderate the panel discussion.
Thank you very much. Am I audible to all of you? Okay. So thank you for inviting us, the chairman, the head of the library, and all the scientific officers and all the staff of NSF. And thank you for organizing this wonderful event and the participants. Most of the time we listen to the conversations on digital libraries, the digitalization from many specialists, but it's rarely that we hear something from librarians actually who are doing the work behind the scene most of the time. So we have 5 librarians, including myself. I'm a librarian by profession. So we will like to explore how librarians perceive this the concept, digitalization, and the consortia, all the things, because I know there can be the audience can have librarians who are members of the SLISTINET, the network, Science and Technology Network, and also those journal editors from various other disciplines. So I don't want to introduce all the panelists here because you already all the panelists have been introduced. So I will pose one question from okay, I will start with Mr. Ravi Kumar. Mr. Ravi, actually I know you have been included in various digital library projects within the country, and with the National Library also, and we have many members of the SLISTINET that is organized the network that is coordinated by the National Science Foundation. Actually, 25 years ago, I was doing my master's on the inclination of scientists in Sri Lanka in using digital libraries. So in 1998-99, it was Mr. N.U. Yapa who was the librarian at the NSF, and so he was my supervisor. So we utilized the research scientist database of the National Science Foundation, and we sent did the survey with the scientists of the National Science Foundation, the network of scientists. So at that time, it was on the inclination of scientists on using a digital library. But now we no more talk about the inclination. We are using it, and we know how useful it is. It was in 2000s that we had the access to the INASP network and the resources. So, Ravi, what is your idea on the networking of people, networking of institutions, and having access to digital resources? Or do we have to what are the, we already know the benefits we already have, but what are the things that we can do more?
Yes, Professor, actually it's a good question. Good evening, everyone. It's come to the question, answering that question. First of all, I would like to tell the present status of our digital library in Sri Lanka. Now, most of the academic libraries, state libraries, have their digital library set up, and institutional library, also the research and development institutes also have digital library. When you go through that, you can find most of these digital libraries are digitized. They are institutional publications by the academics or the undergraduates and all. So it's kind of a repository. So we can't completely say it's a digital library. Digital library is more than repository, right? So we need to think about that. So we need to incorporate some other collection as well, journals and even though videos, documentaries, and some open notes. So those things can be added and we can enrich our digital repositories to the next level, and we can make it as a real digital library. And of course, this is a very good platform to connect all the libraries, because earlier also we have several networks, as you said. Even though I remember we have AgriNet, and sometimes I'm also one of the member in that. So if someone asks the article, we will send the request, then they will send the photocopy, something like that. But no more, we don't need to depend on that time. So now we can connect all these repositories together, and we can one digital platform. So this is the right time to think about that, creating one digital platform for Sri Lanka, incorporating all the resources. It automatically connects all the libraries. So automatically we can share the resources. And not only that, we need to think about taking this research to the common public. So how we are going to take it, because we are always talking about research and development, but sometimes we forget the second part of that. So we are doing research and we are publishing that. That research is utilized by some other people, and again there is another research. But what about the output? So how these outputs are reach the required person? See, I am in the eastern part. So eastern part is our main economy is agriculture. So there are many research we are doing in our university based on this agriculture. But how far these output reach the farmer? So that's another question. So through this digital platform, what we have to do, I think, to improve that, next level, we have to incorporate or interconnect this digital platform with the social media networks. Because social media is directly connected to everyone. So even though the lower level one can also now able to access all these digital media things. So it's very easy. We can deliver the research output for them. Because as a scholar, researchers, we know these databases. We know where is the database and how we can download and everything. But for the common man or the common public, they don't know. So we have to give this through this. We can using this social media platform as well. And also behind all these things, there is a technological support is very much important. So even though creating a valuable digital library service, we should have a very capable staff. So we must train our staff, even especially the librarian, because librarians are the responsible person for disseminating the information. So while we getting the research, so we have the responsibility to take it up that to the public. So librarian should have the capable to do that. So technically as well as also in the research side also, we have to train our staff. That is also very important. I think so those things we have to consider.
Thank you, Ravi. Yes, next I will like to, if Mashrufa, you are interested on this specific topic on open science. So can you elaborate a little bit about what open science is and how it is related to our the discussion here?
Thank you, Professor. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, for last 2 decades, we are mostly the scientists and the researchers are interested in openness. In that case, we are thinking of publishing or selecting an outlet maybe a journal or a conference proceeding or book, maybe whatever, an open type, open access outlet. At the same time, we are thinking about archiving our research output in the digital repositories or digital archives. So open science is something more than that. That includes the selecting an outlet, a better open outlet. In addition to that, it is an umbrella term. It includes the research process, how research is proposed, what is the methodology, what is the data collection tool, the data, and the analyzing techniques, and at last, the research output, maybe a thesis or a paper or a book. So it is an umbrella term. And now, we are almost strengthened through the National Science Foundation. We have established digital libraries, each and every university. We have established digital libraries, and we have opened our institutional publications to the scientists and as well as the society, because all the science publications should go to the society, as Mr. Ravi told. So we have experienced during the COVID-19 period. So the importance of open science, because each and the diagnostic system, vaccines and everything, even the general public, even they are not educated or not educated, wanted to understand. So that is what open science expresses. Everything should go to each and every corner of the society. So that emphasizes the transparency without any barriers. It should go to each and every individual. That is the basic idea of open science. And UNESCO has developed a toolkit for open science, and they are emphasizing scientific communication, scientific publications. There are 4 pillars they have introduced. They are emphasizing inclusive, equitable, and sustainable knowledge to each and every person. So this UNESCO toolkit is followed by almost all the countries in the globe, and the research literature is the last point of the open science concept.
Yes, thank you. Actually, now in this case, actually we are giving a very broad meaning to digital libraries. So digital libraries includes the libraries, digital content built from scratch, and or the collections of journals like Sri Lanka Journals Online, and also the subscription-based databases, collections of subscription-based databases, everything can be included in this the term. Dr. Anandathissa, now with the development of the technology, can we still keep up with the original values of librarianship that we have traditionally developed? Some theories, especially we remember that the theories introduced by Dr. Ranganathan. Can we still keep up with the values in this digital era?
Yes, Doctor. Good afternoon. Because the most of important this area in my side, especially the traditional knowledge, because all the librarians or all the peoples, they are responsible to protect their history or their culture or their heritage. The library is the most important role to the ancient, to the historical development of the press library, to the present library situation. They collect their historical knowledge, maybe printed or maybe non-printed knowledge. I think this type of digital era, all the librarian or all the archives, they can collect the original one to the one umbrella, one forum. Because our heritage, if you are studying to the in last 10 decades, we want to go to the mainly 5 institutes to the select to the our collect the all the information. Maybe a museum, maybe a archives, maybe a Royal Aesthetic Society, maybe a University of Peradeniya, or maybe a Department of Archives. All the information divided to the 5 institutes, their own authority. I think that this type of consortia or this type of digital era, I think we can collect all the information the one forum, maybe one repository. After that, we can collect because the in our field most important day-to-day vanish to the non-printed knowledge. Collect to the various forum. Therefore, I think the good effort to the collect all the information, maybe divide to the maybe 17 universities or maybe some important institute maybe under the cultural ministry. I think better to collect all the information in the one forum or one repository.
Yes, thank you very much. And we came to a good point here. Right now, under the new government, the 3 main cultural heritage institutions, the National Library of Sri Lanka, the National Archives and the National Museums, all are in under a single ministry. So the cultural ministry. So that I think is a good starting point that we can develop a common ground. Actually, I always say that if something happens in the center of Colombo, all our heritage is over. That because all these 3 institutions are in the close proximity. If something happens, all our cultural heritage, most of the 90% of the cultural heritage preserved in documents are vanished. So that actually is a concern because we have to somehow include not only the currently producing digital content, but also what we have in other formats have to be converted. So that also is something that we have to focus on. Okay, so this is another thing that we were discussing in today's the morning session. Dr. B.J.C. Pereira also mentioned that he appealed to the scientific community to publish in the local journals, because otherwise the local journals are ignored by the seasoned researchers, and that will badly affect on the local journals. So what do you think of the trend we have in higher education institutions mainly, and also the research institutions? We are going after the number of citations. What do you feel?
Yes.
Dr. Prathipan. Yes.
Thank you, Professor Ruan, and thank you very much for giving this opportunity, Mr. Manuja and team of NSF. Yes, it's a good question and very relevant to this conference. And today there were very good discussion and shared by the same by Professor Pereira. Focusing on local journals and local knowledge. So, and the other question is, everyone is going behind the citations. So what are the advantages and disadvantages, whether the path is right or wrong. So we can discuss it. It is a debatable area. And there are critics on this. So clearly our Prime Minister, Madam, clearly pointed out, so how we have to weight hard sciences, social sciences, and humanities. There are many things to be discussed. So first I would like to say, so if it is a local languages like Sinhala or Tamil, so proudly I must say, when we compare with the world languages, so NSF has created the best opportunity to publish Sinhala Tamil paper which are indexed in Scopus and Web of Science. So far as of today, there are 3 Sinhala paper indexed in Web of Science and Scopus, while only 1 Tamil paper indexed in both sources. But if you see from Tamil Nadu or Malaysia or any other countries, there is no single Tamil paper in the world. But it is only the opportunity created by NSF through Social Science Journal of NSF. That's what one of the researchers from Southeastern University 2 years back published his paper in Tamil with that standard. So what I am trying to say, there is no language barriers in the world to publish papers or journals. Because if you say the Web of Science covers more than 53 languages in the world, while Scopus cover 54 languages in the world. So that we have to create the opportunity. We have to create the platform. We have to promote the local languages, and we have to produce the journals and papers by strategically moving. Because there are humanities researchers in the country, but they are not very much experienced, they are not very good in English, but they are very good researchers. So where they will publish their research? So that is one of the options that we have to create. Okay, now as library professions and information professionals, we have a duty to promote research. So that is the part and partial of the librarians. So now, where the research trend is going on, that is the second question from Professor Ruan. So before that, we should know what is the world trend. So when I went through research and calculated for last 10 years, so how many research so far published in internationally recognized journal, which may be index journal, which is based on Web of Science. So far 38 millions of publications available for last 10 years. So out of that 38 million, when we see the Indian subcontinents, which include Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan and India, India published around 1.5 million, while Sri Lanka published 25,000 for last 10 years, and Pakistan published around 300,000, while Bangladesh published around 67,000. This is the normal publication trend. So, other side, we will look the citations. So what about that? Citation is kind of a quality indicator. When we say the publication is the quantity indicator, so there are different meaning for that. Anyway, that we can explain in this way as well. So which means the active research, if you have a number of publications, we can say that I am an active researcher. But if you have a very good citations, I can say I am an influential researcher. So that active researchers and influential researchers. In that way, if we see the Indian subcontinent, which country is more influential researcher? So for that, there is an indicator called the number of papers included in 1% of papers based on the citation received. Okay, so out of that 30 million papers, so we have to take 1%. Among the 1% of research, Sri Lanka is better with 1.4% of papers. That is around 298 papers out of that. So when we compare with all Indian subcontinent, we are top, which means our researchers are doing good and very influential researchers, and that's what they received high citations. So this is one of the indicators that normally that term clearly says highly cited papers. If you see the highly cited papers in terms of Web of Science definition, this is among the 1%. Okay, so that's what even one of the Stanford Institute every year they are recognizing researchers based on the 2% of highly cited papers. So there are Sri Lankan scientists in that list. So that. So other thing is, so out of these 25,000 papers, around 52% of papers so far published in open access journals. Okay, so if you publish in open access journal, what will happen? Our visibility and readership will be high. If we have the visibility and readership, so automatically our impact will be increased. So that is the other thing is. So other question is regarding the budget allocation. So if you see the last 4 years of Sri Lankan research, so it has been observed that from 2021 onwards, the total number of research has been significantly declined. So what's the reasons? Fund allocation was major reason, and today also they have a discussion. So if you see 2021, the publication was 3,533, while it is as of today 2,430. So we almost the year is going to end. So this is the other scenario. So shall I add one more thing?
Yeah,
one more thing. So other thing is the selection of publisher. See Sri Lanka, the Sri Lankan researchers mainly, there are two things. How Sri Lankan researchers selecting their journal publisher for publishing their papers. Other thing is how Sri Lankan researchers referring the paper from different publisher to include in their papers. Two things. Based on the two sides, so I went through that: Elsevier, Springer, IEEE, Wiley, MDPI, Taylor Francis, Sage, and Emerald. The top 8 list this is. So out of these top 8 lists, we have only 2 publishers database in university system or in R&D institution. So how our researchers will have opportunity to refer and go through the journals? This is a question. So we have to create the opportunity. I think the NSF is a right platform to establish this kind of consortium to get all these access to improve and enhance the research. Thank you.
Yeah, Professor, I also want to add that. But clearly, Dr. Pradeepan said how far our Sri Lankan research are in the top level. But it is not visible to most of us. But he took all the data from the Web of Science and all, how many of us having access to Web of Science. So my point is, this is also we have to consider while we are developing the digital library. We have to put this matrix in somewhere. Even though in the keynote address also they have mentioned about now we have a new matrix called all metrics. So all metric donuts. This can be integrated with our system. Now we are using DSpace. That is normally we are using to develop the repository. There is a possibility for integrating these kind of metrics. So that will be show how far our research is visible to others, even though in the social media and all. So those kind of things we can include.
One more thing I want to add.
Thank you, please.
So really we know that citation is earned by our scientists. We are at the top level in this Asian continent. However, the matter is it related to the openness and the digital library setup. So we have opened our research papers through the digital library so that the other global level scientists can read our paper, and it is used, we are earning the impact in terms of citation. So the NSF has to take attention because some highly impact journals request the author's article processing fee. For example, last year I want to publish a paper. They have asked in Swiss franc, in Sri Lankan rupees, it is around 750,000. So how can we afford? even our universities can't support us because they have a ceiling. So if we want to promote this type of publishing in good open access journals, the NSF can come forward and support the scientists to promote the openness, open access publishing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, now that we are short of time, we will have to conclude the session. So we talked about the necessity of digital libraries for accessibility, inclusiveness, and most of the how we are actually performing as researchers as a country, how we are performing in the region, in the world. But we will have to indulge more into this in a future discussion. I want to conclude the session with a comment on how AI
Excuse me, Doctor. I think
yes.
Mr. Manuja and other high authorities, please prepare the concept papers to the rather out of the today discussion.
Yeah, that is good suggestion. Thank you, Dr. Anand. Actually, AI. Even you can say this table is AI, this my screen is AI, everything is AI. But I would believe that if this acts on its own. Actually, I have seen a video recently, a robot, a tiny robot going to other robots and convincing them to leave the workplaces they work because of that robot has, that is what it says. The robot has convinced the other robots that the working time is too long and it is tiresome for the robots, and therefore to leave the places that they work. So the CCTV cameras have recorded that the other robots follow the tiny robot. So I think that is something, and I don't know whether it is true or false, but whether it is false information, but that may happen in future. But of course, we don't have to think that much. Of course, we can. Earlier, we were thinking of building digital libraries when we had to have a lot of infrastructure. But now, if you can create a custom GPT containing your all the documents, or just give a URL, collect information from this website, and you can customize. You get customized responses to your queries, not only the sources. So we have. I know some of you might have used the custom Google search engines a long time ago, but now we have came a long way using AI for digital work. So I don't want to mention all on what we can do with AI, but of course that is an era that we live in, and of course we have to think more. And also, above all, I think NSF can do one thing, while we support in designing a policy for AI, especially for the researchers to follow. I think in the morning session also this was discussed in detail. So that is something that most of our universities have not yet created their own policy documents on how they act on AI or use of AI for research, how far we can as a researcher go into that. Okay, with that comment, do you have anything? Okay, okay. Yeah, if you have anything, just to...
Yes, I want to emphasize one thing, that under the open science, open data is a very important aspect we have to consider. this National Science Foundation can create a national level open data repository, because research papers are open, but no research data. So in future, the future scientists cannot refer the research output and the findings have been made, but based on which data. So this is hidden now. So the National Science Foundation has to start the national data repository. From 2017 onwards, US started in 2017, the open data grid. Then European data cloud was in 2018. Africa and Australia started 2018. Even Malaysia 2019, and today I got understood Pakistan also has recently started. So this is very highly technical matter, because data cannot be simply archived or deposited, because it is data curation techniques are there. So the National Science Foundation has already led the digital repositories, digital libraries, Sri Lanka Journal Online. Similar attention should be given to the digital repository of data. Open data should be available to the future generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and this concludes the discussion session. Thank you all the panelists, and thank you for the participants, and thank you NSF for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you once again to all the panelists and participants for an insightful and engaging discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now invite the Additional Director of the National Science Foundation, Dr. Shanta Siri, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. Before I enter into the formal vote of thanks, on behalf of our committee chair, organizing chair, Mr. Manuja has requested bit respond what's based on panel discussion on behalf of the National Science Foundation. One was, of course, highlighted a repository, kind of repository for the raw data, right? So on way forward, the envisaged consortia model will facilitate in a way, those kind of modalities, if the consortia model come to reality, those aspects also will be come into the equation, realistically. Second one is, of course, AI, everything now invading every discipline invading the AI, as you all know. Even Sri Lankan context, we talk about the AI, but in the other part of the world, always AI term comes with responsible. But responsible AI, researchers, generators of whatever machine learning and algorithms, AI was responsible. So therefore, first and foremost, we, as being the National Science Foundation, presume we may need a kind of a regulatory policy framework, not only for the R&D sector, but of course, an overall. So therefore, in the consortia model, in the time to come, NSF has planned to come up with a kind of a draft, at least draft policy on responsible AI. And with regard to support scheme for supporting the encouraging the publication, so open access, I'm happy to share with you that National Science Foundation has a scheme to encourage and support scholarly publications. Of course, it has certain terms and conditions because we are publicly funded. It is actually not an upfront payment. We encourage always little bit higher end publications where we support, as I remember, we support publications in index journals more than one impact factor. 2 tiers, one is 2 impact factor or more, other one is 1 impact for payment basis, because at the end of the day we have to comply with the, all the government moratoria and the regulatory framework. If the researchers is support with his own or other source of funding from the or on affiliated institution, NSF will have the, he or she can, author can make a request to the National Science Foundation for a reimbursement of the publication fee. So those are some explorations or surface responses to the key some questions raised during the panel discussion. Now we're moving to the formal vote of thanks. First and foremost, our sincere gratitude to today's chief guest, Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. In spite of her busy time schedule, she present here, and it was a great encouragement. And in a way, it shows the government commitment towards science and technology innovation sector as well as digital transformation. And then our sincere appreciation goes to our guest of honor today, Professor Krishan Abesena, the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology. His presence also was an encouragement. And I want to extend our heartfelt, sincere gratitude to our Director General, Dr. Sepalika Sudasinghe, and Chairman of the National Science Foundation, Professor Saman Senavira, for their guidance and directives throughout the way. Their guidance made this event a success. Then we also, our special thanks goes to today's keynote speaker and guest speaker and our esteemed panelists who shared their valuable expertise and knowledge which shed light on the topic, which brought new perspectives, explorations, dimensions to the discussions, so that way forward may be paved or the designed productively to come up with a productive and effective consortia model. And of course, today our esteemed participants from various stakeholder organizations, library and community and other stakeholder organizations, thank you very much. Your active participation and your active presence throughout the sessions made, I think, today event a success and achieving the objectives, because continuous engagement, knowledge dissemination, and building consensus as a national ideology, kept aside the institutional or individual social ideologies, but come to a consensus onto a national ideology, so that we will win as a nation in the digital transformation process. In a way, if your contribution toward the digital transformation, as in the S&T library sector, but as we all heard from the beginning, from the Prime Minister's speech today, S&T sector going to be the key driver or key pillar in the economic development process. So in a way, your contribution to the digital transformation, in a way, it will significantly contribute to the, at the end of the day, to the national development process. So be in touch with the National Science Foundation. This is not a single event. It's a process, continuous process. So please be engaged continuously and till we come up with a successful consortia model. And of course, today events held with the medical faculty premises. So we would extend our sincere appreciation to the Dean, Faculty of Medicine, and their support team, and of course the on-site team technical support, which enable us seamless sessions smoothly and beautiful event organized without any hamper. So our special thank goes to the medical faculty dean and their support staff team. And last not least, yes, our NSLRC team led by Mr. Manuja, your hard work and dedication. This kind of event cannot happen overnight, where substantial planning, organizing, cooperation, commitment, team spirit required. So today's event success, a reflection of your hard work, and of course your team, and behind Ms. Tasneem and our IT manager, of course, and entire NSF family. We have this team spirit. That's how NSF have always become a trendsetter and team player, have become this kind of event to the always as a successful event and achieving the objectives. And with that, I think if I missed, of course, our today one of the key role played here, our compeer, our own Dr. Inoka Sandanayak, our team. Thank you very much, Inoka, and you made the event very, glamorous, and I think successfully you've done the proceedings and to the timeline, brought the event to the end. And yes, of course, and may not be able to name by mentions, mention by names, but contributing in numerous ways to make today's event success. All, thank you very much, and have a nice evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shanta. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the close of the NSF Digital Library Conference 2024. Today, we have explored innovative strategies for sustainable journal management, digital library consortium development, and many other topics. As we move forward, let us continue to work together to empower scholarly communication and digital access, fostering a culture of innovation and collaborations. Thank you once again for being a part of this significant event. We look forward to seeing you at future initiatives. We would now like to invite everyone for refreshments. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you.